It. All right. So today on the First Time Storytelling broadcast, my guest is Regina Hanson. Regina is a copywriter, author, and storyteller. She believes in empowering women, listening to amazing music, and creating positive change. She's here to share the first time someone said to her, "Nobody is perfect," and how it set her soul to be free. Welcome to the First Time Storytelling broadcast, Regina.
Good morning, Miss Ann. Thank you so much for having me.
That's such an
This is
amazing sorry, a little delay there. That's such an amazing first time to share, and I really can't wait to get into this.
It sounds very minute, but it really was life-changing.
All right,
I'm
well,
going to launch in.
yeah, do tell us what stage in your life were you at? Who said it to you? And do describe what it means to have your soul set free.
Great. So I've always been a bit of a late bloomer. And believe it or not, this didn't happen until my mid-30s. And it was someone that I've been in a relationship with for about 6 years. And, you know, we've all heard this phrase, right? Nobody's perfect. Usually it's someone trying to feign maybe responsibility for making a bad decision. Well, nobody's perfect, that sort of thing. But to have someone say it to you in a way that allows you to be all of you is really freeing and incredible. And that's what happened in this situation, although the change didn't come overnight. So he says this to me. Go ahead, Ann.
So this is someone, this is someone that you know that really truly knows what you are like. I'm just wondering, what was your life like at that time that would trigger that person to say that to you?
That's a great question. I love that you asked that. I didn't go to college until I was in my 30s. So when I say I was a late bloomer, in every way, my life had been surrounded by a bit of anxiety and not being enough. Now, interestingly enough, I wasn't diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, I'm on the spectrum, until my late 40s. So I'll be 50 this year to give you some perspective. And I had a lot of limitations that I didn't understand about my personality that prevented me from being all that I could be. And when you combine that with being from the South, being raised in a Pentecostal church, being a woman who's taught that the right thing to do is to be a good wife and a good mother, fitting into that social construct that isn't right for everyone, and not ever quite fitting in or getting it right. So this relationship that I was in the middle of, it was 12 years long, and again, this was about the 5th or 6th year. This person sees my intellect, they see my potential, and I described myself at the time as a lightning bug in a mason jar that was constantly beating my wings against the glass, trying to fly, get out, be free, and unable to do so. And he was a big part of me evolving into my authentic self. So when he says this to me, it allows me to try things. In other words, I had always been a bit of a perfectionist. If I couldn't do something very well, I didn't do it. I wouldn't try. Because of those few times in my life where I did try, I did go for the dreams, like singing, and was never able to make anything of it. Felt like every door was shut in my face. Where did I belong? What was I supposed to be doing? Who was I? And it chips away at your soul over time, these little situations. So I really began to embrace, after he told me, nobody's perfect, finding out who I really was, what I really wanted out of life. And this was the freeing part. Nothing is perfect. We're perfect in our imperfection. Our essence is our beauty, and there's nothing perfect about it. So you have to embrace all of who you are. You have to find out who that is, because when you're truly joyous and happy and fulfilled is when you're feeding your soul what it needs, whether that's
Absolutely.
right? You're feeling me on that. I can tell. Whether it's
Absolutely.
creativity or inspiration or intellectual stimulation, whatever your go-to is, that's what you need to be sure you're embracing in your life. And it doesn't have to be $1 million payoff. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be authentically you and your heart's ultimate desire.
Yeah, I grew up and I was also much of a perfectionist, and I took everything personally, and criticism just really impacted me. And I didn't, I was very emotional about it. I would cry a lot. And my stepmom constantly would, tell me to stop behaving that way, to stop being like that. But it's one of those things like, well, I don't know how to stop being like that. But as I got older and raised my self-awareness and my understanding of things, and I definitely realized, you know what, it doesn't matter. What matters is that I'm trying, I'm giving it my best, and that over time, I can see that I get better at things. You can't come out, that expectation that we have, as especially when you're young, that you're going to come out of the gate and everything's going to be perfect, is just crazy.
It is. And I think a big key to life's fulfillment is enjoying what you do, right? Stop trying to make it perfect. Stop trying to make it look good to someone else or fit into a box that none of us are intended to fit into. We shouldn't be boxed in any way. So now I make sure that I do what I love, what I enjoy, what fulfills me. And when you pay less attention to what's coming in at you, those people that judge you, those people that say negative things, that try to negate your truth, okay? When you can release yourself from any of those expectations and not be bothered with that, and just live in your own zone, you're going to be much more fulfilled and happier, I've learned.
So now when you heard him say that, obviously you absorbed it, it started creating a shift. So first, it's one of those things, first you get the mind shift, then you get the physical out in the world shift. So what did the physical out in the world shift look like?
I mentioned earlier that it took time. I mean, when you've been living for 35 years in sort of a negative headspace, and I can't do anything right mental place, it takes a while to unwind that. And I was in college. I had wanted to graduate with honors. I was doing well in my honors classes, but still ended up missing that, right? By just a 0.8% sort of thing. And I had to release myself from those expectations of being great. And after I got through with my first degree, which is history with a minor in women's studies, I went on to do my master's degree and started embracing the idea of studying for you. This was a Jeffersonian mindset when he opened up the University of Virginia. It was, I want people to come here and study what they're interested in. If they're an architect, they don't necessarily need to study horticulture. If they're a horticulturalist, or a farmer, they don't need to study, math, right? So that process, during that time, both my parents were diagnosed with and died from cancer. So
Sorry.
as I'm evolving, thank you. As I'm evolving personally, this also played a role into my personal empowerment and finding my own strength, because I took care of both of them when they were bedridden. And I never saw myself as a nurse or caretaker. I never saw myself as strong enough to be able to handle such intense emotional and physical needs. I didn't see myself in that way. And my father got sick first, and he and I were very close. And when you're there for that person, and that person, their emotional pain is somewhat eased, you can't ease their physical pain when they're dying of bone cancer. That's just something that has to be endured. But to be there for them in a way where they're telling you, thank you for me not having to die in a facility. Thank you for allowing me to be here at home. I stepped away from that situation, realizing I was much stronger emotionally and mentally than I ever thought I could be. So that also was another boost. And it helped confirm that we're all on our own path. And just because I felt like such a late bloomer who wasn't getting anything right, like I never married, I never had children, my life is a bit unorthodox in that way. But you just have to embrace your authentic life. I mean, who you are is special. You don't have to conform. You don't have to be a mother. You can follow your dreams and do what you want to do. It's okay, right?
Yeah.
So that was another big step in that transition.
But I love that part of your story, how being placed in that situation made you realize so many other things about yourself, and that you're much stronger than you imagine yourself to be. And to be honest, that's one of the big reason why I do this 365 First Challenge, why I want to bring it out to everyone, because it forces you and pushes you to do things that you've never done before, to put yourself in places where you don't think you belong, to just give it a shot, to just try it, and to have fun with it, and to enjoy it, no matter what the outcome is. Just have fun and enjoy it, so that you can start discovering that, I'm better at this than I thought, or you know what, I want to give this more effort and I never thought about it. And because you have, it is very unfortunate that as human being, we get caught up, like you were saying, on what life is supposed to be like on this path, and you forget to live. You start, we don't want to be robots, we don't want to be replaced by robots, so why do we live our lives that way when we have the ability of constantly going, nope, I'm going to go this way, nope, I'm going to go this way, I'm going to go this way, I'm going to go this way, and enjoying that and not judging other people for doing that. I mean, much like you, I'm single. I mean, I really don't do relationships, no kids. And I've pursued everything in my life that I had ever thought about. I've done it, I tried it, and I failed at it. I'm trying again. And just because this is it, it's life. You have to live it and do something with it. And it's amazing and incredible that that person gave you that gift to free you, to be able to do that. And now that you're clearly expressing that experience to help others, to give them that gift, that's so amazing.
I think that we're weaving a theme of your life is meant to be enjoyed today. And you asked a few minutes ago how that took me to where I should be, maybe fulfilling my destiny, if you will. I did something last year that took a couple of years for me to get the nerve up to do, but that I feel was very much part of my life purpose, and that was releasing my first book. And it's a brief memoir about racism. It's very intense. It talks about my family situation and how we sort of tried to navigate racism in the South. And it's real. It's very raw. And it was something that took a lot of courage to do, because I have a lot of people in my hometown that I still love, that I still have relationships with, even though I live in Vegas now. And after Charlottesville happened in Virginia with the big riot, that's when my heart kind of flipped. And I said, all these stories that are in the back of your mind that you've thought about putting in a different book, this is its own entity. And all that fear, all those expectations started popping up. This is not going to be a 350-page book. People aren't going to think this is good enough. I mean, it's an hour and a half or two read. It's less than 23,000 words. And I had to climb out of that. And it was that initial comment of nobody's perfect that allowed me to publish a book that was thought-provoking, intense, and not what everyone would want to buy. This isn't a book that your romantic reader or your fiction reader is going to grab off the shelf. But I had to do it because it was my soul's purpose, right? I couldn't live with myself if I didn't get this work out. So that whole nobody's perfect moment in my life gave me the courage later on to do what I feel is my life's purpose, which is now writing and facilitating activism through that work. It's what an incredible journey. But I think we all have these life-changing moments, whether we recognize them or not. And the point is to apply.
Yeah, they're available to everyone. That's the thing. And honestly, that's the reason why I do this show, to get people to talk about it and for the people to realize and have it click. This too can happen to me. Life is magical. When you start engaging with it, it will give back to you, but you have to engage with it. You have to take those steps that are uncomfortable, that you have to face your fear, that you have to overcome certain things in order for that magic to start happening. And then when it starts happening, you have this great gratitude, and you can look back on your life and have different perspective on what it's meant and why, how it's all coming together. And it's something that's incredible about also getting older, having the ability to do that. And perhaps when we were younger, there were people older than us who were telling us to do those things and we were ignoring them. I don't know. Certainly now, the younger generation, no matter what you're going through, and people are definitely going through a lot right now, understand that there is value to it if you maximize it, if you grab it, if you understand what it's about, how it's shaping you, what you can get out of it, that later in life, it all starts making sense if you engage with it. Now, what is the book called?
The book is called Racism: The Real Reason I Left the South. It's available on Amazon via Kindle, and I'm doing the ebook now. I'm also working on my own website. If you've ever done this kind of stuff, everything is a work in progress. Everything is learning something new. So by the end of the month, I should have the website up, and I just picked my company called 48 Hours Books to print. So I'll have audio, hard copy, paperback, Kindle, and ebook version, all available through the website. The publishing company I started for this, because I have a lot of projects, I'm working on my second book now as well, is called Personal Empowerment Publishing. And I did that intentionally because every work that I put through here, whether it's my own writing or someone else's personal story, is meant to help people grow and evolve. It is about personal empowerment. So that's where that project is at.
Well, that's fabulous. And I know it's going to lead you to so many other firsts and so many other new experience. When you take on something that big, it's really great because you do have all those experience and you do have to learn so much. And, if you have a love of learning, that makes everything just so much better. And and you're going to have your challenges and you're going to have your setbacks, and you learn to deal with those and to keep forging ahead. And it's just, again, engaging with life and living it and exploring and discovering all kinds of people. I just love it. I mean, that's being an entrepreneur. Those are the that's what it's all about, and constantly remaining creative. And it's never a boring day, that's for sure.
I do feel like I'm able to sort of pursue all of my joys because I love to write, I love to create, and I like having a certain amount of control over my work because I don't feel limited, again, conforming, right? I
Yeah.
feel like I'm able to be all of who I am. But something you mentioned that I love, I'd like to expound on for a moment if we have time, is it is so important. And this is something I wish I knew in my 20s that I learned late. If you look at every situation as a life lesson, even if it's combative, if you're sitting in that situation and you ask yourself, what am I meant to learn in this moment? What can I take away from this to help me as I grow? If you keep that mentality in life, it is so much easier. It just, you get further faster. Life isn't as hard. And I think that's a message that I would like to give to people too, in the no one is perfect, is we're all growing into our best selves. Life is just lesson after lesson after lesson. So the sooner you get into the mindset of looking for the lesson, applying it to your life, and growing, the easier and more prosperous and happy you will be.
Absolutely. It's one. So with Next Level First Coaching, I teach a program. It's Maximize Your Journey, and it's a self-development program, which is all about how to take first times and new experiences and leverage that as a self-development process. But we dig so much into how to handle disappointment, setbacks, failure, and set the proper mindset around it. And the faster you can start detaching yourself from outcome, so becoming an observer in those type of situations, so that you can gain from it what you need instead of being personally engaged with it and having all the emotions that are attached that it brings up, then the faster you can continue to evolve and grow and to understand. Like sometimes when I say this things to people like, oh, well, you're constantly trying to change and improve and grow. And it's like, yeah, no, well, they're like, don't you love who you are? I'm like, I absolutely love who I am. That's the reason why I don't want to stay static. I want to continue to evolve. Like, Regina, my mission is to raise human potential in my lifetime. I want to take people out of their loops that they're caught in, the things that we discussed, and get them to start leveling up.
Yeah.
Start raising, so that they're living and loving and enjoying life even through the hardships that come their way. And that's something that each and every day I continue to work on. There's no magic pill or solution. It's continuous effort that you put into it. But what when people don't want to do this, it confuses me. It's like, well, what else are you doing with life?
I love, again, where your head's at, because I had a conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday, and he's in the same boat. He's like, I don't understand people that don't want to be their best selves, that don't want to grow. And I love everything you just said. I think we're on a very similar paths, right? On the same wavelength for sure. But when I left that relationship that we were talking about in the very beginning, that 12-year relationship, that a few months later, a little poem came to me, an affirmation, if you will, that I use to this day. And it goes, we live and learn and grow as we go. And sometimes our tears water our soul.
Oh, that's beautiful. We
And
live
so
and grow as we go, and sometimes our tears water our soul.
we live and learn
We
and
live and
grow.
learn and grow as we go.
Right. And sometimes our tears water our soul. And, it's okay. It's all a part of the process. And that was sort of my culmination of this 12 years with this man, and halfway through, I get this message, nobody's perfect. And then I come out of the relationship, a better me with more self-love and more self-awareness and more strength, more personal empowerment, right? And that poem was sort of the result of that.
It's a beautiful poem. That's incredible. All right. Well, I no lie, I could talk about this all day, all day long. No, it's by far one of my favorite topic, and the thing that I just want to impart to people. Like if I could just be like do you remember the Was it the Care Bears? You remember those? I could just have it going out and just wake them up to just, and again, though, that's why I do what I do, the first time storytelling, the app, because if I can get you to just try some of the new things and just wake you up and just say, oh wow, this, I never thought about doing that. It's such a great experience. What else can I do? What else can I discover? What else can I explore? And in the process, you're growing. So uh, well, one person at a time. So hopefully this story will touch someone and it will also sink in for them that nobody is perfect. We're all work in progress.
Right. I love your life's mission, Anne. I'm with you. And since we're both in Vegas, we need to get together. You know that, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's happening. All right. So let's switch over and let's play the first time lightning round so that we can learn a little bit more about you, Regina. So the way it works, it's similar to the app. I'm going to give you some first time options. And if it's something you've done before, it's up. So you would swipe up on the app. If it's something you've never done, not interested, we're going left. And if something you've never done, would like to do, add to your list, then we go right. Ready?
Okay, so I go, wait. I go up if I've done it before.
Yeah.
I go to the left if I'm not interested, and I go to the right if I want to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Do a ropes course.
I have done that.
Yeah, I've done that. So we're going up. Go to Waterworld.
I'm going to have to negate that one because I'm so fair-skinned. I get sunburned not so fast. So that's a no.
That's a no. Okay. Write a screenplay.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that. That sounds fun.
Let's do that. I'll add that to the list. Wear a wig.
I have done that.
What was your first wig? Was it a costume?
It was a long red wig.
Okay.
For
was
fun.
It was just for fun.
Yeah.
All right. Have you had a crack in your windshield?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do upholstery. So upholstering like a new chair, like a chair, like reupholstering.
Oh, that's something I want to learn to do.
All right, that goes right. We're adding it to the list. Take a kickboxing class.
Yeah, I need to do it.
All right. We're adding that to the list. Eat Thai food.
No.
That's a very never done it. Don't want to do it. Thai food is a no-go.
Is a no-go for me.
Oh, was it because it's spicy food?
Yeah, I can't do really spicy foods. My tummy will burn and hurt. So I'm very much a meat and potatoes country girl when it comes to eating. But I do love Mexican.
All right. Okay. Play the banjo.
Yes, we need to learn to play the banjo.
All right. Awesome. Volunteer at a art museum.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, adding that to the list too. Awesome. Wow, we added a few things to your list. Awesome. All right, so next question is today's prompt. So the first time story prompt, also food related, but it's not spicy. So ever had German food?
I have at someone's home.
Oh, well, that's the best kind, isn't it? It's homemade.
Yeah, and I felt like it was a little bland for me. I remember potatoes and a bit of bread. It's interesting because I like spices, but I can't do hot spices.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like a lot of flavor, just not spicy flavor.
I do.
Yeah, you might actually like Thai food because you can get it not spicy at all, and it's definitely very flavorful. Yeah,
You're gonna make me try Thai, aren't you?
We might go out for some Thai food. We'll find something that's safe, but I don't want you to get a stomach burn, and then you're like, never going out with Anne again. So, Uh, but yeah, so my first German food was actually in Germany. So it was in the town of Rothenburg, which is just an incredible, like medieval German village. It's such a awesome place to explore and walk through. And it's my second weekend in Germany. And so we went obviously to a restaurant, and I had Wiener Schnitzel and the Spätzle, the noodles. And yeah, I thought it was a little bland as well. And I was not like, I didn't dislike it, but I was not in love with it. So,
Right.
like I did not, even though I was in Germany, I did not make going out to German restaurants a top thing. But then when I had bratwurst, I was like, oh yeah, I can definitely go down for some bratwurst is really good. So yeah, and that was my first. And then German restaurants are very they for me it's a very wintry theme. It's very dark and everything's very
Mhm.
heavy and big. So I was like, yeah, there's not the ideal atmosphere. And I love Germany, don't get me wrong. I love so much about Germany. But yeah, that was not. And speaking of Mexican food in Germany, that's the one type of food that the Germans cannot do is Mexican food. Never go to a Mexican restaurant in Germany, just skip it. There's a lot to explore, but that's just not it. So yeah, all right.
Mental note, no Mexican in Germany. I've got it.
So, all right, final question is how have you been making the best out of the current situation with the pandemic?
You know, this absolutely should have been a time of intense writing. And this is another scenario where I want to communicate to people. Don't stress yourself out. I have a girlfriend who's also a writer who is like, not everybody's going to launch a new business during this time. Some people are worried about how they're going to pay rent. Some people don't know if they're going to be able to eat in 6 weeks. So if you're in survival mode and just making it through, that's okay. I have been doing a lot of house stuff. We painted both bathrooms. I have a roommate, and she bought this house last year. We painted the walls, the cabinets in both bathrooms, planted a ton of flowers in the front and backyard. That made a huge difference. I bought some tile for the bathroom floor last year, and we had a guy come in and give us a quote to do that. And then yesterday she was like, let's just pimp out your bathroom. And we went and got some wall tile to do a whole wall in this gorgeous tile that's like textured, and it looks almost like long leaves going up. And we're going to do the whole wall behind the tub with that. I'm like, boy, when you resell this, you're going to get some bang for your buck. So I've been productive. I wasn't doing what I wanted to do, which was to have Sexual Intellectual Female, the second book, done by June. That'll probably be July. Done a fair amount of research on it, but haven't been writing as much.
Yeah. But it sounded like you did what your soul needed, because being so active and I think seeing that's something about when you do housework, like the type that you did, is you get to see immediate results. And
Yes.
that's so good for your well-being to see the immediate change. And it sounds like you're still expressing creativity, right? Through how you guys are going to design things. So how great. And that you're not beating yourself up. It's like, hey, well, if I was going to be done in June, it'll be done in July.
Yeah. Which is
it
also
helps. It helps to be your own publisher.
That's what I was going to say. You can march to the beat of your own drum when you're in control of your own life. And it's so important that we do that when we can. And, for me, gardening has always been very therapeutic. For whatever reason, and I grew up in the country, I love the smell of fresh tilled dirt.
Mm.
Okay. So going outside and planting these flowers, and again, what you just said about having immediate results, you can immediately see this great splash of color. You know what it's like to live in Vegas. I can't be outside planting anything past May 10th, right? Like at that point, when that weather shifts into almost 100 degrees, I'm done. I'm not outside anymore. So I have to take March and April to do those outside things.
Yeah.
And that feeds my soul also. So
which is I have to say the COVID-19 irony for us living in Las Vegas, and I'm sure Arizona and some other places where it's like, great, now that we can start going out again, it's too hot. Nobody wants to. So maybe that will curtail the spread. It's definitely only visitors that will be coming out to Las Vegas. We're like, yeah, no, we're done going out now.
July 2nd is my 8th year here. Okay, that's my 8th anniversary. I'm still offended by 100 plus degrees in May. Yesterday, I was like, it's 106 and it's not even June 1st. That's just wrong.
This is my first winter. I moved here in August. It's my first winter. I was extremely disappointed at how cold it was. I did not expect it to be that cold. Like, I expected a much milder, nicer winter. And now that we're going back into the summer, and I'm like, that did not even out. So year one, no go. That did not even out. So we'll see how many. So that was strike one. We'll see how many strikes I'm going to let Las Vegas have with the weather. But yeah, it's I'm crazy about turning the AC or the heat on. I wait and wait and wait. So like, I'm sitting in my house sweating. I'm like, okay, this might be time.
I'll tell you this about Vegas's winters. Once you've gone through the first summer, you will welcome that next winter. I promise you.
But I still want the winter to be a little warmer so I can enjoy the winter more and be like, okay, I'm not like, we should be able to go out during the winter and stay in during the summer.
Well, because I'm where I'm at in my life, hint turning 50. For me, the winter was great.
Well, I have gone through that. So I've gotten premenopausal. So I sometimes, like, there are certain, when it hits me, and yes, when that happens, I'm grateful that it's a little cooler, but it's not consistent yet. Knock on wood, that it won't be I'm 42, so it won't be for another few years. But I hear you on that, and I can't imagine what's like in the summertime. So, all right, well, Regina, it's been an absolute blast and pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for sharing your story and getting us into this great conversation.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful. I just love your life's mission, and I absolutely want to get together with you, but I'm not going to promise Thai food.
Fair enough. I will work my way up. I'm persistent.
I can see that in you. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will get in touch offline and plan on meeting up.
Have a beautiful day.
You too. Thank you.